How about that promo? How about that promo to start the show? Welcome everybody to the newest podcast on Sports Empire Network, the Cheap Seats podcast, where myself, Kyle Edwards, Big J, Jordan Jean Lewis, we're gonna go over NFL, NBA, and all the latest topics in both those. But what's unique about this podcast? What's unique about what we're going to do is this won't be a game by game prediction. This will be couch quarterbacks. We're sitting in the cheap seats at the stadium talking about who we'd rather have or what situation we think is, the best for us. We got a ton of topics, NFL, NBA. Before we get into that, I'm wire to wire Gene Waltech, and the man that's running the ones and twos, Kyle Edwards. Kyle, say what's up to the audience. Tell them where they can find you.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I mean, you see me on here enough. I'm on here now Monday nights here. Tomorrow night, Jordan and I with Dylan are on Big Three. Thursday nights, I'm on with Gene and Godfrey, pregame Pigskin. That's about it for now on the network. Who knows? I may pop up other places. I don't know.
And if you're not following this man on TikTok, follow this man's TikTok. He is posting videos daily. Appreciate everything you do, Kyle. And then Jordan Jean Lewis, Big J, the JJL, the Jordan Jean Lewis experience.
Yes, sir.
Brother. Tell us where we can follow you and
just like Kyle said. Obviously we're sharing this podcast on Monday, new first episode. Then, like Kyle said, we are on Tuesday, the Big Three. I'm on my own show on Fridays. You can find me on JJL Sports Talk Show on Instagram. My link tree is in the bio on Instagram. So, easy click. You got the Spotify, the Apple Podcasts, Amazon, everything, iHeartRadio. So, you can find me there. And, let's get going, guys. I'm excited.
And one of the newest members of Sports Empire Network, Brian Edwards. What's happening, Brian? Welcome to the show. First show, the Cheap Seats podcast. I'm glad to have you. Tell the listeners out there where they can find you, what you're doing outside the Cheap Seats. Can you hear us, Brian?
I think it's the unmute your mic, brother.
Yeah, you're muted, Brian.
You're on mute, brother. All right. Well, when you get ready, let us know. Hop back in. Are you
I'm
good?
on here, man. I'm on here. I couldn't. Yeah, man. I was having mic problems, bro.
It's all good. It's all good, man.
Now you good?
So where can we find you? What are you doing outside of the Cheap Seats podcast?
Man, outside of that, I'm working that real job work. So I'm trying to get all my socials and everything going right now. I got my wife and my kids. I'm like, hey, y'all set this up for me. So as soon as I get me some more stuff going on, I'm gonna give all of it to you. So for right now, it's what it is, what it ain't, what it's gonna be. That's how we're gonna do it.
For sure. We're here to talk sports. We got NFL, NBA. We got different topics, different sports. We got a ton to get into. But Kyle, why don't you line us up with our first topic of the night?
All right. So earlier, Dame Lillard made a statement saying that he's the second best shooting guard of all time. Now, I kind of thought he was talking about currently playing, but if we want to take it to all time or just currently, we can do that. I kind of want to hear what you guys think about that. Because he said, obviously, he's behind Steph, but he's the second best.
I think, when I listen to that interview, and Jordan, go next, but, when I listen to that interview, I just want to put context behind it. I think he said it's Steph, and then there's a whole bunch of people that could be number two, and he's in those people. Did he just say he was number two, bar none? Or did he say that he is in that?
He said that he is the second best after Steph.
All right, Jordan, let me hear you first.
So the question
is all time. So think about that all time.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that question. Did he mean the second best this season or modern or just all time?
All time.
All time is
what he names like Ray Allen, Reggie Miller.
Yep.
I can't agree with that for Dame because I feel like he can clutch time. Possibly. Because we also had a game where he closed it out against Paul George and the Thunder. He had that shot in his face to seal the game. I think that was in the playoffs or end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to all time, I mean, I wouldn't put Dame up there. Like, obviously Curry is up there. Reggie Miller. I mean, I do agree with that list, but I wouldn't put in second best. To be honest, I would put Clay, Ray Allen up there because Clay, they're the Splash Brothers. So they got to like sit together. So, but I mean, I do like Dame. I can't agree with that.
All right, to me, it comes down to a couple different things. I'm not going to discredit Dame the way I feel like most people will in this situation.
Right.
I think it comes down to off-ball shooting, and it comes down to on-ball shooting. I think off dribble, Dame Lillard is just as good as anybody in NBA history off dribble that's not named Steph Curry. So just pull up off dribble. But as far as spot shooting, he would get clowned by all those dudes you mentioned. A lot of people forget Larry Bird. You got Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, Larry Bird, all those guys, even Kyle Korver. Spot shooters, I don't think he stands a chance. But off-ball shooters, I think he's probably second or third of all time. So, like, I don't know what he means. He's talking about his degree of difficulty. And when he says shooters, I guess you can look at the entire mix of it. But as far as off dribble, Dame's up there with anybody. He's up there with anybody. I wouldn't look at Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, Larry Bird would be up there off dribble, but off dribble, a lot of those spots, even Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson one time had 34 points on 6 dribbles.
That's crazy.
So that tells you how little you need to dribble the basketball to be a spot shooter. They're all better shooters than Dame. If you empty gym, shoot them. I think Gilbert Arenas, it sounds funny, I'm kidding, but in a gym, empty gym, would outshoot Dame Lillard. But in game, off dribble, I got Dame top 5, 100%. What do you think, Brian?
Now, when he said shooting guard, 2 guard, there's no way I can put him top 2 when you had Kobe playing 2 guard, Michael Jordan playing 2 guard. We're talking about all time. So we can get even if we just want to say shooting, to me, you still got to go. It's 2 ends of the floor, offense and defense.
He said shooting, just shooting.
Yeah, he's just talking about shooting.
He said shooting, space, guard.
What is Dame?
Shooting guard.
I feel like Dame's a slasher and a shooter. Like, he's not just a straight shooter.
He's talking about just shooting. The conversation would be just around his shot.
See, but oh man,
I think he's a better shooter than Kobe and Michael Jordan. I don't think that's close. Just shooting the basketball.
Now you got to talk about when we say degree of difficulty, it is in being able to create your own shot. But you got dudes like MJ and Kobe who were taking shots over people just because of their sheer size. So Dame's degree of difficulty is higher simply just because he's shorter. It doesn't make him a better shooter than anybody else, but his degree of difficulty is naturally going to be higher because in the game of basketball, the shorter you are, you have a disadvantage, period. So I can't just, if I'm going to give you credit just because you're shorter, then I'm looking at Iverson, who degree of difficulty in shots he was taking 3 or in the paint, still going to be better. So am I going to give you credit just because you're short? I mean, I can, but does that make you a better shooter? I don't know. I can't necessarily say that.
Yo, comment said it, shooters versus scorers. I think Dame is a scorer, not a spot shooter. But I'm telling you, off dribble is different than spot up shooting. Kyle, what do you think about? I know that you disagree with him saying he's a top 5 shooter based off our context and what we talked about. But do you think maybe off dribble shooter he'd be top 5?
Yeah, I mean, I can say probably, but thinking off the dribble, I would think, Jordan, Kobe. I feel like for Dame, I could see him maybe 4 or 5 if you wanted to make the argument. I could hear that. Probably in terms of clutch shooting, late game, Dame has made some kind of career-defining, jump shots, or whether it's the Rocket series or the Thunder series. I mean, those are probably two of the best shots I've seen to basically call game and end a series. But yeah, I'd give him off the dribble. in terms of greatest, like all time second, nah, I don't think he's even close.
If I'm
Even with
gonna
the guys
give
he
you a-
named, I'd pick a lot of them over him.
Right.
if I'm gonna give you an argument against, and then both of y'all said Jordan and Kobe. Look, Jordan and Kobe were scorers. They were not precision shooters. I don't know where that came from. Their best work is around the rim and those short fallaways, which aren't really. They're more. They're shots. They're shots, but they're not distant shooting, bro. They're not.
So okay, so but you
Yeah.
just said it. You said distance shooting. Are we only talking about distance shooting, or are we
No.
talking about
Talking
shots?
about all
Period.
shooting.
See, so if
Just
you're talking
shooting.
about all shots, just shooting, you have to say that degree of difficulty in the paint, pulling up, taking somebody off the dribble where you are creating your own shot, creating your own space, a la Jordan with that turnaround fadeaway, Kobe picking it up after him. So if your degree of difficulty is that, then you have to give them credit for it. So if it's just somebody saying, I'm too short to get in here and mix it up with these big guys, let me just jack a whole bunch of threes and you make a career out of that. Okay,
A
good.
Hall of Fame career out of that.
Now we pushing it with Hall of Fame because
No.
what has he actually done in the playoff time? Because
Dame will 100% be a Hall of Fame player. I'll cut my
I'm not saying.
testicles off. If
See,
he's not.
basketball Hall of Fame is a little bit different. Anybody they let a bunch of people in basketball Hall of Fame. I mean, so yeah, he's gonna be in there, but what has his career shown that he's done? Not saying it's all his fault that he hadn't won a championship. He hadn't won too much in the playoffs, but we're talking about Reggie Miller and other people like that. They've done just as much.
I mean, I think with that, it's like Brian just said, I mean, it's not his fault. I mean, look at the teams he has had. As it's been him, I mean, other than the center like Nurkic, whatever his name, whatever the center, he ain't nothing. I mean, yeah,
You can't say it's just been him. I'm tired of that narrative.
I mean, Dame
Yeah,
scared
TJ
the team.
McCollum.
Cheers.
I mean, yeah, McCollum, yeah, but that's it. I mean, Warriors. I mean, they had Clay, Draymond, a person who can, defend. I mean,
What does that have to do with his shooting, though?
it helps. I mean, look at Draymond. He sets up Curry with the three.
Talking about Dame Lillard, Freddie. Dame Lillard said he was the second best shooter of all time. Now, I think anybody will argue that he's definitely not the second best spot shooter of all time. I think he might not even be top 10 if you're talking about set shooters. Klay Thompson, Larry Bird, all these guys. Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, Kyle Korver. They all shot the ball better, like shots set shoot. I would say JJ Redick shoots the ball better from a spot shooting role.
I agree
But
with that.
off the dribble shooting, I think he's second or third. I really believe that. And I don't, we can all we're debating this obviously, but I think he's definitely top 5 and off dribble. He's up there with anybody that's not named Steph.
I mean, I
Who
think
would you say was the second best off the dribbler shooter? Obviously, Steph's the best at everything because you do everything. Spot shooting, off the dribble shooting, fall away, step back, whatever. Steph's the greatest shooter ever. Who would be your second best off the dribble shooter? Because that matters.
it does, but I think with Dame, he's like an off the dribble perimeter shooter, whereas Brian bringing up Jordan and Kobe, they'd be like off the ball mid range shooters, and it kind of depends on how much you value that over a perimeter shot.
You also got Ray Allen, man. I think a lot of people think about Ray Allen in his Miami days where they just
You're
needed
talking
him
about
to.
the Bucks.
Oh yeah,
But that
he
Bucks,
was a problem.
Ray
Bucks,
Allen,
yeah.
he was a problem off the dribble. I
Even
mean,
the
not
Sonic
just
Ray
three,
Allen.
everything. So it was like, yo, I can't even take Dame over Ray Allen just looking at that totality of what his career was. Like I said, he showed you the spot shooting when he got to Miami. He was older, but that younger career, he was doing it all.
You dead right. Reggie Miller too. Reggie Miller was the king of
Miller.
the flip the legs out. Reggie Miller would be my number 2 or 3 if I'm being honest with you, because how much he had to create his own shot. He was the entire offense over there in Indiana in those 90s games. Like they were very sound defensively, but Reggie was the straw that stirred the pot.
I feel like Clay is like the modern day version of like a Ray Allen because he can spot up just like Ray Allen, the corner specialist. But now, I mean, I'm talking about like prior to the injuries for Clay. Like Ray would be, if he was open, he would knock it down, knock it down every time. And Clay's just like that. But now he's, girl, he knows. We all know he's in a slump right now, but I'm talking about like post injury.
I got a hot take for you about Klay Thompson.
Okay.
And obviously we can never prove it, but it's just my opinion from what I've seen. When he was in his prime before he was injured, if you put him in an open gym, he would have beat anybody in the history of basketball any day of the week. Open gym shooting, like spot shooting, he's the Ken Griffey swing of shooting. It's the most pure shot I've ever seen before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But that's we can't prove that. That's
not true. Yeah.
I mean, that's not a hot take. I mean, that's his facts. I mean, he's up in gym. He's a knockdown shooter. I mean, he probably can't hit 100 shots, threes in a row. I mean, I won't say that, but yeah, he's a knockdown shooter.
I remember Gilbert Arenas' video that he put up where he took 100 straight 3-pointers and he hit 93 of them. And I was like watching that, and he's just like, you just don't understand. These people in the NBA are just different. And it's true. And you keep going back to the Brian Scalabrine thing where he's like, I'm closer to Jordan than you are to me. And it's a factual statement. It's a good conversation about shooting.
Like another player I just thought of in the modern day is Devin Booker. Do y'all think he's a better off ball shooter than Dame?
No.
I think Devin Booker's streaky.
Give me Dame.
I think he's streaky. Brian, what do you think?
At that point,
dude,
they're even part of me because of how streaky Booker is.
Yeah,
he can get on fire and shoot just as well as anybody.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. It's the consistency for me. Would I just leave him open for a shot? No. But because of how streaky he can get, and once he lights it up, it's dropping like it is Clay, like it is Steph. Then he's a problem. But I don't have the faith in him like that I would have in Clay or Steph in taking that shot.
Right.
All right. Well, we 20 minutes in. We're ready for topic number 2. Big J, hit us with yours.
So mine is current MVP early season ladder of the MVP race.
I love this. But I need you to start because I remember the conversation we had just 2 weeks ago. So I need you to start and tell me AD's on your ladder, man. I really want to hear that.
I mean, to be honest, I think he still is, but he's not top 5. He's actually in the top 10.
Give me your top 5 MVP candidates now.
So top 5 is definitely Tatum, number 1. I know Kyle loves hearing that from me. Number 2, I will still say Giannis. He dude's averaging 30.6 points per game, 11 points per rebound, and 5.3 assists. Number 3, probably the Joker right now. He's 24, averaging 24 points per game. And then my top 4 is probably Ja Morant. Dude's averaging 27.6 points per game, 6.7 rebounds per game, and 7.9 assists per game. I think Kevin Durant moved up to number 5. Then I have Luka at 6, Zion and Luka tied at 6, and then Davis at 10.
Yo, my man, let me tell you something right now.
This is the NBA. This is the NBA. Actually, the updated.
Oh, I thought Gene was asking. I thought Gene was asking like your
my personal. I mean, I was looking at the updated MVP ladder race.
I actually think it's super disrespectful what you just put out there.
I mean, that's the NBA.
No, it's not.
All right, so forget the NBA. Yeah, forget that one. What's yours, Jordan?
I definitely have 5? Tatum number 1, Giannis number 2.
Okay.
Then I have if Embiid can go down a couple games. I mean, Embiid's probably in my top 10. So number 3, I have Ja Morant number 3. Then I have 4 at Luka. 5, I have Jokic. 6,
all right, that's it. 5, just 5.
Yeah, just 5.
And I'm tired of you throwing Jokic in there. Stop putting Jokic over Embiid, man. Embiid is better than Jokic. He's better every year. They go further in the playoffs. Jokic gets swept out of the first round. Embiid plays defense. I'm tired of hearing the Jokic arguments. It's driving me nuts.
But Jokic, he did have like freaking like 30 points, 27 boards, and like 10 assists.
And Embiid had a 53-point almost quad just a week ago.
Yeah. No, I'm saying right now because like
Yeah,
Embiid got
53, 12, 8, or 12, 10, and 8.
yeah.
He was two
But I'm
blocks away
saying
from a quad.
I'm saying
You know how
Embiid
ridiculous that is?
he was out for a couple weeks, so kind of his stock kind of. But yeah, you're right. I mean, he should be up there. It's hard to fit that. Then you got AD. I mean, then he went down, but
Here, I'm gonna give you the list, right? I'm gonna give you the list. It's Tatum. I don't think Tatum wins it, but I think Tatum right now is in the lead. Second is Luka. Then Giannis. Then Embiid. Forget all the other stuff. You can listen, we go 5, 6, 7. My fifth would be one of my favorite players. One of my favorite players would be Ja Morant. I love Ja Morant ever since he came in the league. But
oh, cool.
KD's up there. I like
Luka,
that comment.
Giannis
Comment
too.
got Luka, Giannis, Embiid.
Yeah, KD has
Tatum
yeah,
5.
KD has moved up in the rankings. So
Tatum
He
at
said, how could
5
Luka
seems
be my
kind of
number
low,
2?
but
how can Luka be number 2? That's what.
Bro,
Frank
you
said.
not like I don't. So they're one game above 500. You were putting AD in your top 5 when they were 5 games below. What you mean?
That's what Freddie was saying in the comments.
Freddie's wild, bro. He's averaging 33, 9, and 8. What do you mean? How could he be number 2? Do you realize how ridiculous 33, 9, and 8 is in the NBA?
Kyle, what's your top 5 right now? I know
So
Tatum gonna be number 1. Brown
well, I'm
game to
just
be number
saying,
2.
I can agree with Gene where he's kind of saying like Tatum probably won't win it. Like my theory is the league wants to give it to Luka or Embiid. Embiid for the simple fact he's been runner-up how many years in a row now, and he's kept up his dominant play. Luka we know because the league wants to make Luka the next big star. So for me, I would go Tatum number 1 currently. I might even go Morant number 2. And that, I think what would help Morant's case would be if the Grizzlies win the West, he'll take it easily. 3, I'd go Giannis because, I mean, Giannis is Giannis. He single-handedly keeps Milwaukee in contention year after year, puts up the great numbers. So I go Giannis 3. I would go Embiid 4. Kind of Gene put it out there,
You were hesitant about saying that Embiid. You were like, Embiid
I was trying to think
4.
in terms of 4 or 5, but I'd go
Yeah.
Embiid 4 because
Okay.
when it comes to Philly, Embiid covers up for a lot of the lack of success consistently with guys like Tobias Harris
Cool, man.
and Harden has been inconsistent, but when you go against Philly, you know what you're gonna get from Embiid. I mean, if you want to argue him or Jokic, but I mean, Embiid probably is the most dominant big man, both sides of the ball. And then 5, I might go KD at 5. But I think there's a couple of other guys you could throw in there. Because I'm looking at New Orleans, and if the Pelicans find a way to win the West, Zion's got to be in your top 5.
Right.
Hopefully he stays healthy, though.
Before Brian gives his list, I mean, I know Gene, you're the moderator, but I got a question. So
Good.
when it comes to production and then injury, right? Say AD goes off for a couple games, he gets hurt. Joel Embiid goes off for a couple games, he gets hurt. So when it comes to those 2 players, Embiid and Joel, do you put AD and Joel?
Mm-hmm.
Can you put both those players in the same category as not street clothes, but I guess you could because Joel Embiid has known to be injury prone. He hasn't had a career where
from, bro. Hold on. I'm not
came
going to disrespect him. Keep calling him street clothes.
But I'm
He's
not going
played 78 games last year out of a possible 82. 78 out of 82 last year.
He got drafted and he was
62
hurt.
the year before, and the only games he missed were for COVID. He missed 2 weeks because of COVID.
Yeah.
He got COVID. He played 55, 75, 71, Where do you want him to? Why
But
is he getting that moniker street clothes? My man
I'm
played
not-
71, 75, 55, which is a bad year, 62, 78. What are you talking about?
All right, but
You want to read Anthony Davis out? I got you.
Go ahead.
Anthony Davis games
AD
played.
had
This is
2 years where
amazing.
he played over 70 games. 2 years.
Bro, it's terrible. Here's
I'm not
Anthony Davis.
Freddie, I'm not backing down from Fiend. I'm shit.
40. You tell me if there's a difference. 40, 36, 62, 56.
With a title.
That doesn't matter. We're talking about if he's on the
nothing to do with
court.
street clothes.
No, but I'm just saying that like you're acting like Joel Embiid had a healthy career. I mean, he's known to be injury prone. You can't trust. I mean, obviously,
Why?
yeah,
But that's a false narrative.
But when
During his career, he
but
didn't
then when
play a
80,
lot.
but then when 80's 100%, and then when he goes down, he's like, he's street clothes. But when
Bro,
he's
Joel Embiid played more games in the last 2 years than AD played in the last 4. There's a problem, dude.
I mean,
Out
I'm not
of the
hitting on.
two,
I mean, I'm not hitting on
who's
Joel
more
Embiid
likely
at
to
all.
play hurt?
Embiid.
He has
Embiid.
to because Harden is on a slump sometimes. So
Yo,
he
Brian,
has
I'm
to
really
step up.
interested to hear- I'm
He
really
has
Looking
to
at this
step up.
current Lakers team, AD needs to play.
correct.
So yeah,
I need to
Yo,
hear Brian's list. I need to hear Brian's list.
AD was hurt. LeBron played last night and they won. What do you mean?
When I tell you, I hate talking about MVPs in any arena, any league, because all it takes is for, like you said, street clothes himself, AD. He can be on fire for 2 weeks and everybody starts talking about MVP. He's got to be in the MVP race, knowing good and damn well he's going to get hurt and he's going to miss a month. And we did all that hype and all that talk about MVP and down the drain.
I mean, I wouldn't
So
say it's down the drain, but
down the drain.
He's out a month.
Like a month. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
That's like
You can't be
17 games
MVP
worth in a month.
And
That's a
you can't-
lot to
that's
miss.
Exactly. So that's why I hate all of the MVP talk until we get well past All-Star. We 3/4 of the way. So then you can actually look and see. Because the one thing I'm not hearing, in which I didn't think anybody was going to talk about this, Donovan Mitchell. He's on the Cleveland Cavaliers now.
That's
Mhm.
correct.
Nobody talked about Cleveland because they were been terrible. They hadn't done anything. Now I think they're third or fourth in the East. They're actually winning more games than losing. Why? They
Mhm.
changed one thing. Donovan Mitchell. Why are we not
Yep.
talking about him in the MVP?
That's a good point.
That's why I
So
hate.
who's in your top 5?
I don't even
yeah,
have a top 5. Like I said, it's way too early for a top 5 just because you're gonna have Anthony Davis on a 12 seed and people talking about MVP. He can't even make the playoffs. How you gonna be talking about him as an MVP and he can't make the playoffs? That's why I don't talk anything MVP this early, period. It's just because we have the same thing right here.
Brian,
Now,
you
yeah.
spit music to my ears. Kyle, what do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Well, I was about to say, even if you want to talk about AD, there's going to be a major problem with AD. The fact that if the Lakers turn this around, there's a guy over there named LeBron who's going to take probably a lot of the credit and will probably move past AD in terms of an MVP ladder because, LeBron being older, we already know how voters are going to gravitate towards him and give him a lot of the credit if they turn it around.
Freddie, I don't know why you're not on this show, man.
And that's not even to say, because I'm one of those who thinks that with the current, stature that the Lakers are in, AD is probably more important in terms of if AD plays the way that he did in this stretch before he got hurt, he impacts winning on that Lakers team probably more than LeBron does because of his ability to defend at the rim, play in the post and all that. But I don't think he would ever get as much credit to be ahead of LeBron on an MVP ladder.
I mean, will we even be talking about this if AD didn't go down last night? No.
Yeah.
What do you mean? No, AD right now in my opinion, before him going down last night or 2 nights ago or 3 days ago, when he actually went down. If we're talking about this, then AD was 5th or 6th in MVP odds. So
Yeah,
yes, he would be in the top 5.
Yeah, he
But
dropped like
AD
10th.
did what, and what I told you a week ago
Mm-hmm.
was 2 weeks ago when you were like, AD is going to end for MVP. We need to talk about, and I told you what was going to happen. Jordan, I told you what was going to happen. I said, talk to me at the All-Star break because I guarantee he misses a month before the All-Star break.
I think he was 5th or 6th, and I think he's dropped to 10th. That's the NBA on the NBA site.
Tatum, Giannis, and Lucas are top 3. I like Durant at 4. I had Steph at 4, but he's hurt now. Come on, Brett. Stop.
Tatum,
Embiid needs your respect. Embiid needs your respect. Don't be putting Durant over Embiid. Silly shit. Embiid's averaging 34, 10, and 6. Come on, guys. The guy's a monster. He almost had a quad double 2 weeks ago. Do you know how hard that is? Right, we got to move.
Freddie's in a hammer at this point.
We got to move. We got more topics.
Yep.
NFL is a topic. Brian, do you have a topic that you brought to the table tonight? If not, it's okay. It don't matter. I got plenty.
The only thing I wanted to talk about was how are you guys viewing? And I'm going to take you to college football. The Deion Sanders.
Oh, man. That was a good one.
I got you.
How do you view the positive and the negative? I mean, all of the just drama surrounding this one head football coach leaving one school, going to another.
I'll be direct with you, and I have a very unpopular opinion. I said it on Wire to Wire. I used it as my "you got to be kidding me." I went on a rant about it. Look, if Deion Sanders would have took the job at Jackson State and moved to Colorado in 2 years after the success, and that was that, I'd have had no problem with it. None. No issue whatsoever. What I don't like is the self-prophecy bullshit that comes out of Deion Sanders' mouth. So let me help you real quick. God sent me to fix HBCUs. God sent me here. I'm on God's mission to fix HBCUs. Bro, call it like it is. You didn't want to be an assistant coach on anybody else's staff. You wanted to be a head coach, and no Division I program that was an elite program was going to hire you to be a head coach without any coaching experience. Like Deion, his entire life, in the NFL, in baseball, every interview, it's been Deion for Deion. Don't give me this Deion. He's just this noble guy that wanted to save HBCUs, and that's where God sent him. And what, God don't want you to do it no more? 2 years later, he's done with you. His mission is now Colorado. Get out of here, man. Look, it's not about him taking the job at Colorado. It's about the way he handled himself prior to that. And that's where my issue comes in. Great football coach, great recruiter, did a lot of good things at Jackson State. But don't tell me 2 years. 2 years later, God no longer wants you in HBCUs. He wants you you want to move up. And I think the reason he did it so quickly to Colorado and took a terrible job. Colorado's a terrible job. Like, it's not Florida. It's not Florida State. It's not the U. It's not Texas. He took a job at Colorado. The reason he did it is he wants to give his son exposure to play in the next level. And he wasn't getting that exposure at Jackson State, which I understand. But just call it like it is. Don't give me the bullshit that God sent you to fix HBCUs. That's all BS. Deion for Deion. Remember that.
Should I go next, Kyle, or you want me to go next? Or?
Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
All right. I mean, Dean makes a couple good points, but here's how I look at it. Like, okay, so he did. I mean, without Deion, there would be no Jackson State. They wouldn't be on the map like they are now. They want to be on it. They want to be on. Have they been on national TV a couple times? I'm pretty sure they have been.
Yes. College football game day went there.
Right. So he has. I get it. He had a kind of like a commitment of him staying there, Think about it. You're at a job, right? You're at this one job, and then you see a promotion, right, for a higher. I think Colorado's D1, right? D1 or D2. So that's a more prestigious promotion. I mean, Gene, if somebody came to you like, "Hey, okay, I know you're doing great here, you're doing great things, but hey, we're gonna pay you this much, give you this, all this," you wouldn't take that opportunity to?
I got the answer for that. If it was Gene Walzak wouldn't have said that God sent me to HBCUs.
Right. That's
Gene
the
Walzak's
Gene
not.
has with it, yeah.
Gene Walzak's making $350,000 at Jackson State, and Gene Walzak doesn't have $1 billion, $1 million, multi-million dollars like Deion Sanders does.
Yeah.
If I'm Deion Sanders and I said God sent me to save HBCUs, I'd at least be there for 5 years, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I just think
that contract.
I just think that even if he well, obviously he's gone to Colorado, but I mean, I think that even if he didn't say, "Well, God sent me," I think that he's still paving the way for other, black coaches, to take the lead. He's opened that realm of, not. I mean, Deion Sanders is obviously a high status player, but I'm saying that, and now coach. I feel like now from what he's done, like he's upgraded the athletic department. He put all that money into like that program. He's paving the way for, obviously maybe the next head coach might not take it to the next level as he has, but he can teach that person, hey, this is what I've done. This is how you can run it. Hey, this is your team, but hey, this is how I did it. There you go. But I mean, I don't think it's so. I think he just took he's money chasing. He's taking the best opportunity he got available. I mean, so that's how I look at it.
Make a bold prediction for you right now. Jackson State, as fast as they were built up, they will collapse with all the transfers and the people that left that university. So all the work he did will be done for nothing in 2 years.
Yeah, Michael said 300,000 compared to 5 million. I could take that 5 million, Gene.
If I'm Deion Sanders, no. Deion got money in the bank. He's fine. He's good.
Okay, so this is where I fall on that. If God told Deion to go to the Jackson State, cool. He went there. He went there, and did he stay a long time? No. Did he fix HBCUs? Depends on what you mean by fix. Did he show everybody HBCU can be successful? Yes, he did. Did he show you how an HBCU can be successful? Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he didn't stay there 5, 10 years, to me, that's irrelevant. If you teach somebody to fish, they should be able to go out there and survive on their own. Now, if you just brought them some fish and said, "Here you go, eat and dip," that's a whole nother story you're talking about. He showed you. Get out here, bring in sponsors. No matter if it's you or you got a famous friend. Get out here, talk to these kids. You know who are the stars. Get out there. Show them what it is. Get some people to invest in your school to improve the facilities, because Jackson State facilities were crap before you got there. All right, now you do all that. The biggest thing is, if Deion Sanders as a football coach would have got out there and flopped, and Jackson State would have lost every single game, or it would have been a 500 program, just put it like that, 500 program, and he decided to leave, would anybody have a fuss about it? They wouldn't say a doggone word, because they wouldn't have been winning, and nobody would have cared. But because Jackson State was winning, you have a winning football coach decides, "Hey, I'm leaving now." Therein lies your problem. Because I guarantee you, if Jackson State, or hell, if let's say Alabama, Nick Saban, he goes on a losing streak and says, "All right, y'all, I done lost for 2 years straight. I'm going to whoever else." Anybody gonna care? No. Not at all. Because why? He's losing. They're gonna say, "Get the bum out of here." If Deion Sanders was losing these football games, I guarantee you nobody would have a problem with him leaving.
0-2 in bowl games.
Right. 0-2 in bowl games. But they're
Oh,
still
look at
complaining.
What?
Undefeated season, though. Regular season,
Not
won the
undefeated.
conference.
They got a big L. Just
Won
couple
the
days ago.
SWAC. They won the conference. They did everything. Only thing he lost was one
people
game
don't
this
hire
season.
coaches that are losing.
Exactly.
No, but they wouldn't have hired him. But that point becomes moot because if he was a 500 record at HBCU, Colorado wouldn't have hired him.
Exactly. But that's my point.
But you're saying
That's
nobody
exactly
would
my
have
point.
cared. No one would have hired him.
Okay, and then how would he be fixing HBCUs if he's losing there? Is he doing God's work then? Is he if they're still losing?
But he wasn't losing there.
That's
So why wouldn't you
was-
stay for 3, 4, 5 years?
he didn't have to.
Kyle, what's
He
your thought?
No, I think it's kind of what you alluded to a little bit, Gene. I feel like the fans of Jackson State HBCUs are afraid of the fact of Deion leaving and what that's going to do in terms of the progress he made. Now, Cool makes an interesting point here about the deal they have, with ESPN, and that's something that's going to carry on for the next 10 years or so. And I feel like Jackson State should be happy that Deion was able to do that for them before he left. I'm not going to get mad at a guy for taking a step up. Yes, would it be great to see HBCU, SWAC conference, whatever, gain the level of like a SEC or an ACC? Sure. What are the odds of that happening, though? Pretty slim. And, some of these people who were looking at Deion, there was a Dr. Umar or whatever talking about Deion should have brought like other great players to the SWAC to coach. Eddie George coaches at Tennessee State, and I don't even think anybody knew that.
But
Eddie
you got to look at
George-
Grambling State. Look at Grambling State also. You got Hugh Jackson there, NFL head
Right.
coach, former NFL head coach. So that's why when people do come out and start saying stuff like that, I'm like, you already had people that were there before Deion got there.
Yeah, for what Deion did in the short time he was there, it was monumental for that conference. And what he'll end up doing over at Colorado, you said it yourself, Gene. The Colorado job, not a great job at all. But the fact that he'll go there, he will get recruits to go to Colorado that would never think twice about going there. And he'll turn that around pretty quickly. So,
Yeah. I now my brain's remembered. I think Genie, you're the one that said that I think a week ago or two that he used Jackson State as a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a comment. That kind of like made me not mad, but I was like, it's kind of like.
I hope it made you mad. I don't mind.
I
Listen,
mean,
I respect everyone's opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion is he didn't want to be assistant coach. He didn't want to be assistant coach for any other university. He wanted to be a head coach right away. And that's the only place that was going to hire him. But don't say God sent you there.
Right.
I think that's bullshit.
If that's the only comment that ticked you off, that's fine. But I'm saying that like I don't agree with you saying that he used Jackson State as a stepping stone. I feel like if he were to just like left me like, oh, the hell with y'all, I'm done with y'all, I'm out, then that'd have been different. I mean, I ain't going to Colorado, but I'm saying that like, hey, if I'm not gonna help you out, I'm done.
Well, I mean,
F y'all, I'm out.
if he
he's
coached at Jackson State to establish a coaching resume to make himself more appealing for bigger jobs,
he just
by
took an
definition, Jackson State would have been a stepping stone.
Kyle.
It's not to trash. No, it's not. It's not to trash the job. It's just that you wouldn't see like a Jim Harbaugh go from Michigan down to SWAC level. That would be seen as a demotion.
It's
right.
a demotion.
So in order to get up
not a
there as a guy
promotion,
who's
like-
never coached before, you got to start somewhere. He chose the SWAC because they gave him the opportunity.
That's just like any career. Like if you're in a position for like a couple of years and like you see an opportunity, you're gonna take it. So I might miss my coworkers or whatever who I work with, but I know I'm my family, better myself. Why not take the opportunity? Like if it's there,
Cool. Listen, can you throw Cool's comment back up there real quick?
Yeah.
Cool. I love your comments, by the way. And I just want to be clear when I say this. And I feel like this is not coming through clear. I loved what Deion Sanders was doing at Jackson State. Absolutely loved it. And it's super disappointing to me that he stopped doing it after 2 years, which is where my frustration comes from. My frustration is not with don't tell me God sent you there to fix HBCUs and you're doing a great job and you're getting pro days and you're getting ESPN deals and then leave for Colorado. It's 2 years, Dre. You can say 3 years all you want. It's 2 years. He was there for 2 years. He signed his deal in 2020. He left in 2022. Yes, I understand this. It's 2.5 college football seasons, but it's 2 years, right? So at the end of the day, I just wish he would have stayed there longer and gave more to the program and to the HBCUs, because if he did all this in 2.5 years, 3 years, okay, then imagine what he would have did in 5.
Okay, but just like you said, if you imagine he would have stayed 5, at that point, 5 years, is it okay to leave?
Yes. That's his full contract. He signed a 5-year deal there.
So as long as he fulfilled the 5-year contract, did nothing additional, didn't bring in anything else because he's already established everything else. It's just a timing issue. That's all it is.
I think that Deion Sanders being sent to HBCUs to fix HBCUs, I think he was doing that. And it's like you're starting a job, right?
Yeah.
You're starting a job and you have half the work done or 3/4 of the work done. You're just like, nah, it's a better job over here. I'm just finish the job. Like, that's what I wanted him to do. Listen, I think you guys are mistaking my passion for what I wanted out of HBCUs. I'm not trashing Deion for taking a different job. I wanted him to continue doing what he was doing because it gave so many more players opportunities. And that's what I wanted to see. And this isn't me doing this to trash. I just think Deion used the God line as a really nice line. And that line bothered me because I don't think God sent you there to fix HBUs, but then 2 years later said, now go to Colorado. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'll let y'all talk whatever. We gotta get to another topic. If y'all have any other, I
totally forgot about this topic. Like, thank God for Brian to bring it up. I forgot about this Deion, the whole, But I mean, there's different angles though. So
definitely different angles. I reject it, and another school wouldn't have hired him for the publicity. Not a top school, but he would have got another job. He did what he needed for the HBCUs. I respect that. Cool. I respect that.
Also, this part he can still support. Yeah.
You can still give money to them and be a.
Well, I don't think it's about him giving the money. It's still once you put a shine on it and you get the corporate sponsors and partnerships, that's where the HBCU is missing. It's the money to upgrade facilities, because there's been a few games that I've watched and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I've seen some high schools with better stadiums. I've seen high schools with better facilities. So if this is a university, if this is a college, and you have a high school student that's looking there to say, I want to take my career, going to this school. And I'm like, he's looking at him saying, I had better in high school than what you got here. No, I'm going somewhere else. So I think Deion shined that light as saying, hey, upgrade these facilities, get these corporate sponsorships, get the money from wherever we got to get it to upgrade these schools. And then, you can attract some top tier talent, not only in coaching, but the athletes. Because I don't care what coach you bring in. If you don't get the players in there and the players don't win, you still lose. Because who's going to support that school? Nobody. And that's the biggest problem that most of the HBCUs have now, is everybody likes to talk about HBCU. Who's actually supporting the football program? Who's actually supporting the athletes? Who knows? Because most of these people are, if you're winning and Deion's there, I'll show up. I'll support. But it can't be about Deion being there and supporting. You got to want to do that regardless of who the coach is.
Respect that.
That's true.
All right, we got one more topic to get into. We only have 10 minutes left, and I kind of wanted to. And if we go through this topic quick, I have another one, but it's an NFL topic, and I think it's a little bit selfish because I'm an Eagles fan, but I understand it. With the injury to Jalen Hurts, the strained shoulder, and the Eagles all but locking up the 1 seed, does that eliminate Jalen Hurts from winning MVP of the league? He was favored this morning at -150. The shoulder news came out. He's now +300. Patrick Mahomes is now the favorite. And if if it was your award, if it was Jordan, Kyle, listen, if your guys' awards, right? Brian's award, who would your MVP ladder be for the NFL? Top 3.
All right, so top 3.
So I mean that.
Well, how long is he out for her? Is it like a week or two?
Probably not going to play. If they win, he won't play until the playoffs, in my opinion. If they win a game and they lock up the 1 seed, or Dallas or Minnesota both lose, I don't think he'll play until the playoffs. It's just in my opinion. But does that? I mean, that probably eliminates him from MVP. So who's your MVP? Who's your top 3?
My top 3 would probably be. I mean, you want to go first, or sorry?
Yeah,
I mean, I'll go. I mean, I think it'll probably be Allen, Mahomes, Burrows. I can't say it.
You can say Burrow, bro.
I don't want to say it, man.
Burrow fans don't like saying the word Joe Burrow because he owns the division.
I mean, yeah, I had to say Allen, Mahomes, Burrows right now.
Yo, my man Dre is stealing my thunder, man. Don't be posting stuff like that. I'll get into it in a minute. Brian, what's your 3?
With the Jalen Hurts news, that's who I was actually picking as MVP.
Same.
Because for me, MVP, that means you are the catalyst for your team winning damn near everything. So if your team is in first place, not only in your division, but your conference, and you are the catalyst for it, you should be MVP. So with the Eagles only losing 1 game, best record in the league, to me, Jalen Hurts should be the MVP. Now, with him missing 2, 3, 4 games, who knows? That's out the window now. And I hate MVP has come down to just a quarterback pretty much award.
Yeah.
My man Brian, Brian, don't steal my thunder, but I love it.
Yeah, man, I hate it.
I got you. Yeah,
but 3, it's going to be Mahomes, Burrow, Josh Allen.
Okay.
Hey, Chase, I said Burrows, man. I hate to say it, but I said Burrows, Chase. So.
Kyle.
He said we're disrespecting.
Yeah,
Burrows.
I think Chase was talking about the chat, not necessarily us. For me, I'm like Brian. I know that the MVP award usually goes to quarterback, so that's kind of where my head goes. If you're outside of a quarterback, you have to have like a special season, like an AP, where break a rushing record type of thing to really get it. So because of that, I'm just going to stick with the narrative quarterbacks, and I'd go. I'm a big Burrow guy, so I'll go Mahomes 1. I'm going Burrow 2, and Burrow probably jumps up there if they end up pulling it off. And
Drake does have a point though. Burrow did have a slow start.
I'm not worried about that.
You find ways to hurt Burrow. You find ways.
Well, no, that's what Dre said. Dre said in the chat.
Hey, Dre, I'm not worried about that. I'm talking about right now. Burrow's number 2 for me, and if they win that division,
Lamar Jackson,
I'd probably bump him number 1. To be honest with you, 3rd, you could go. I'd probably go Allen. I was one of those who came into this year thinking the NFL would love to give Josh Allen an MVP to kind of solidify his spot at the head of the table in terms of Mahomes and guys like that. Herbert, I would have gone Herbert early in the season too, but nah, he's been inconsistent to really get it. So I'd go finalist Mahomes, Burrow, Allen.
All right, so guys, I do not subscribe. And remember the way I worded this question.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what are your top 3 MVP odds? If it was your award, if it was Jordan's award, if it was Kyle's award, if it was Brian's award.
I mean, if that was my award, y'all know who I'm picking for MVP.
Oh,
don't say it. Don't say
it, but I mean, I would go.
Don't listen to me, Jordan. Go ahead.
No, I really do.
3,
I mean, I do believe that Hurts does deserve to get MVP this year. No matter if but never mind. Because I'm gonna say if, because if is like if because but
no ifs.
Yeah,
I said Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I do but obviously he went down.
So if the award was my award to give out, my honorable mention, my fourth, my like 3A, because I really want to put him in there, is Justin Jefferson, Jay Jettis. I think Jettis is doing incredible things in Minnesota.
I agree.
My number 3, like regular, would be Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is, man, if I was starting a franchise tomorrow and I could pick anybody in the entire league, not named Patrick Mahomes, I would take Joe Burrow over anybody in football, over anybody. My number 2, and I hate this team, but I have to be real. The amount of game plans this man has wrecked this year is just, it's just not being said. Micah Parsons is unstoppable. And all you got to do is watch the first Philadelphia game, right? Eagles won the game. The first half, Lane Johnson got hurt. And the Eagles tried throwing in somebody outside the best right tackle in football. And Micah Parsons absolutely destroyed them. So much that the Cowboys almost came back and took the lead in that game. Eagles got out of that game. Lane Johnson's back for this game. I love Bosa too. Nick Bosa's great. But my MVP, this man was told he couldn't do it because he lost his top wide receiver, got put on a different team. He was told he might not make the playoffs. Denver's better. The Chargers are better. The Raiders are better. The hate that went on my man Patty Mahomes before this season started. Look, all I got to say is look. He's doing it with Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, no running back. They just throw somebody else back there every week. You got Pacheco. You got McKinnon. Edwards-Helaire has been on a milk carton. He's been hurt. He's never showed up. First-round draft pick. You have Travis Kelce and a bunch of nobodies on the outside, and this man still leads the NFL in touchdowns. Still leads the NFL in passing yards. Look, it's Pat Mahomes, man. I think it was Pat Mahomes, and if I had it to debate between Mahomes and Hurts, if Hurts stayed healthy the whole season, I probably would have edged Hurts out just a tiny bit. But it's Pat Mahomes, gentlemen.
Yeah, everyone had, Russell, like you said, Gene, like Denver. They had Denver Raiders because they had Adams before the season started. And like Tyreek Hill went to Miami. They're gonna say, like Mahomes, he ain't gonna be nothing.
Hold on, those weapons are weapons because of Pat Mahomes. Juju, do I need to pull up their stats from last year? I got you, dog. Just for you, Dre. I like you, man. I appreciate your comments on it.
Remember, Valdez-Scantling was a bum in Green Bay.
Juju Smith-Schuster. Last year, 15 receptions for 129 yards. Okay, he was hurt. 42 receptions, 552 yards. This year, 71 for 850. I would say that's an improvement. Okay, let's pull up Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Like, what are we doing right now?
He was a bum because he couldn't work with Aaron Rodgers.
Correct.
Oh, he was Aaron. Yeah.
He had Aaron Rodgers last year. 26 receptions for 430 yards. What are we talking about?
Denver is ass.
Who's his number 3 receiver? Byron Pringle? What's the other real fast guy? McCole Hardman? Are we serious right now? He has Travis Kelce and a bunch of nobodies. Does he have a top 10 running back? No. Does he have any top 10 wide receiver? No. Nope. He's got the best tight end in football and a bunch of stiffs.
Now, McKinnon and Pachinko, I mean, them two got some talent back there.
They're nice.
They all have talent because everybody plays Kansas City with a 2-deep safety, which means there's only 6 people in the box. Yeah. So, yes, your running backs are always going to look better when you're playing against a 6-man box. Pacheco and McKinnon get the drop-offs and the runs inside because there's a 6-man box. Sorry, I get heated because I really studied this shit.
Well, I think because of that, that's why. Well, I think in our chat earlier, but I said I would like to see Kansas City utilize the running backs more because of that, where defenses aren't game planning for them. As Brian said, they're pretty talented. So But yeah, I mean,
The-
Mahomes, and as a Patriots guy, I don't like giving Mahomes and the Chiefs a lot of credit, but
I don't like giving Micah credit. I just did.
that's true. Yeah, and also speaks
Gotta
to
be
the greatness
unbiased.
of
Gotta be
Andy
unbiased.
too.
Oh, I know them all, Dre. I'm being sarcastic, and I'm not a KC fan. I'm an Eagles fan, just so you know. But I'm an unbiased football fan, and I watch football. And I will tell you, I could give you their whole depth chart if you want. I was being sarcastic.
As an Eagles fan, I'm surprised you're not giving more credit to AJ Brown because he's come over.
You talking about for Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, because
I
he's
think
come
every
over
top
and
quarterback needs a
beasted.
number one wide receiver, and I agree with you. AJ Brown has been Batman.
And I think that's the reason why Hurts actually has been as good as he has.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yes, to say someone has weapons that makes them good. No. Weapons help you become the player you should be. Doesn't make you good. If you threw back there, if I threw Zach Wilson back there with AJ Brown, but everybody be like, "What the hell happened to AJ Brown? He stinks now."
True.
Because the truth is, you have to have a quarterback to throw them the ball.
Without a doubt. I mean, that's the only reason why he got out of Tennessee because he had Tannehill. I mean, Tannehill's all right, but he's not going to light the world on fire.
I love Dre Montez. We need to throw him on the show when we have him.
I was going to
The
say
fact that none of us are KC fans, but you know, it is what it is.
Sorry, none of us are.
The only problem I see with the KC is they can't they always have a problem with stopping the run game of other teams. They need to, they've always been a poor run stop defense. They need to fix that. But other than that, on the other side of the ball, they're fine. Yeah, they're fine. But that's the only problem I see it. But Dre, we gotta get you on the show, man.
Not Chip Kelly.
Yo, we had an hour point, and I always feel that way. I always feel like you gotta keep them wanting more. I would say successful first show, gentlemen. Cheap Seats Podcast.
I always say we had a lot of contributions to the show.
It's going to continue, and it's going to continue growing because the core we have is ridiculous. This core, ridiculous.
Hell yeah.
We got the Big J, the Jordan G. Lewis experience. My man Brian hopping on podcast, first show, dropping great topics with Coach Prime, just giving knowledge. I don't talk about MVP in basketball the first 2 months of the season. That's what Brian Edwards does. And then, listen, my favorite person on Sports Empire Network, the man Kyle Edwards. He is my spirit. Every time I need something explained better because I get nuts, Kyle is always there with the logic. My man works hard as hell. He's on TikTok, YouTube. Love the guy. I'm so appreciative to be able to work with this man. And then obviously Freddie for the network. But anything you guys want to say before we sign out? Let's leave them wanting more.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And to be honest with you, first time doing a show with Brian, love the contribution. And I mean, Jordan and Gene, we've been doing shows for a while now, so But Brian, I gotta say, great topic, like Gene said, and I mean, I see the potential with this show. Hopefully, people keep tuning in because it's just gonna get even crazier with us, for sure.
Yeah. Like Kyle and Gene said, the first show was good. It was funny. A little bit of seriousness mixed in there. Brian, the first show. I mean, who are your teams, man? Like, we need to, I'm a Ravens fan. Gene's an Eagles fan. You're a Patriots fan.
I'm born and raised in Atlanta, so it's Falcons, Braves, Hawks.
So we're all a mixture of different teams here. Yeah. I know we play y'all next week.
Doesn't Kyle, don't you live by Atlanta?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Boston, but I live in the Atlanta area, so I follow the Atlanta teams as well.
Y'all need to hang out.
I live in Florida now, so.
Oh, no, man.
Like that, though.
But yeah, it's been a good show. I'm hoping we can add some guests to the show in the future. I think Gene, this is me and you's first of our own show together. I think we've been on a couple guest spots and stuff, but it's pretty cool to have you as my as a wingman on here, man, on the show.
Your wingman? Damn, bro.
God damn. Well, Kyle,
that's like having a new sidekick. That's what he said.
Batman and Robin, man. Shit. Or Robin the Batman, I think. Whatever. But yeah, it's it's been a good show, fellas. Let's want to do a better one next Monday.
Well, let's keep it up. I
Yeah.
appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate y'all in the comments. Dre Montez, Chase, Cool, anybody I forgot. I appreciate y'all. And for that, this is show 1 of the Cheap Seats podcast. Signing out.
Good night, guys.